Welcome to the Cheater's Diary, where we share raw, real-life stories packed with emotion and unforgettable twists. If you love this video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to join us in spreading meaningful stories. Let's dive into today's journey. I'm Mike, 29, from Phoenix, Arizona. Recently, I moved to Denver, Colorado to hit the reset button on my life. I work remotely as a graphic designer for a small creative agency. The job pays enough for me to afford a one-bedroom apartment in a quiet neighborhood. It's not fancy, but it's mine. My place is on the third floor with a window overlooking a small street where cars hum softly at night. I love that vibe. It's like the city's whispering to me. 6 months ago, I split with my ex. That relationship dragged on way too long, not because of love, but because it was comfortable. You know that feeling? When you stay. Because change feels scarier than settling. Eventually, I called it quits. Denver was my fresh start, a blank slate. I wanted to rediscover myself, or at least stop feeling like I was stuck in a loop. My first week in Denver flew by. I was swamped unpacking boxes, setting up my desk, and wrestling with a noisy AC unit that sounded like it was on its last legs. Work was intense. Clients kept emailing revisions. I barely left my apartment except for a quick coffee run. By Friday, I realized I was out of clean clothes. The washing machine in my unit screeched like a dying bird. So I sighed, grabbed my laundry basket, and headed to the communal laundry room in the basement. The laundry room was tiny, with faded white walls and a mix of detergent and damp air. 4 washers and 2 dryers sat in neat rows. Only one person was there, a woman by a running dryer, tall, with light brown hair loosely braided, humming along to music through her earbuds. Next to her was a golden retriever, tail wagging like it just chugged an espresso. I nodded politely, the standard stranger greeting, and headed to an empty washer. I started loading my clothes, trying to be quiet. Suddenly, I felt something wet on my hand. I flinched and looked down. It was the dog, licking my fingers with these big, excited eyes like I was its new best friend. I laughed. "Your dog's hitting on me already," I said without thinking. She pulled out one earbud and turned around. Her smile hit me. Not flirty, just genuine, like she didn't need to impress anyone. "He's got good taste," she said, her voice soft but confident. That's when I really saw her. Her eyes were bright, with a few strands of hair falling over her forehead. She wore a gray hoodie and jeans. Simple, but something about her in. She stuck out her hand. "I'm Sarah. This is Buddy, expert at charming strangers who smell like fabric softener." "Mike," I said, shaking her hand. Her grip was cool and just firm enough. "I just moved in. 3rd floor. 3B. Oh, you're right above me. 2B here. I think I heard you dragging furniture at like 2 a.m., she said, raising an eyebrow playfully. I grinned sheepishly. "That was probably my couch. And my frustration." She let out a soft laugh, clear like a small bell. "No worries. Welcome to the building." We chatted a bit while I started my washer. Sarah said she taught music at a nearby private school and gave piano lessons on the side. I told her about my design work, moving to Denver, and admitted I hadn't found a good burger joint yet. She smiled and pulled her phone from her pocket. "Let me fix that for you," she said, opening Instagram and handing me her phone. "Put in your username." I typed it in, a little surprised by how easy she was to talk to. We followed each other right there. "Check your DMS," she said as her dryer beeped. A minute later, I opened my phone. She'd sent a list of 4 burger spots nearby, with a note, "You owe me a food review, newbie." I grinned. "Deal." She waved, leading Buddy out with her clean clothes. "See you around, Mike," she said, then disappeared through the door. I finished my laundry, but my mind kept drifting to her. Not love at first sight stuff, just a feeling like I'd met someone real. That night, after dinner, I scrolled through Sarah's Instagram. It wasn't full of filtered selfies or posed shots. It was like a diary. There were videos of her playing classical piano, her fingers gliding effortlessly, photos of her and Buddy making goofy faces at a park, a short clip of her students dancing in music class, laughing wildly. Then I paused on one video, Sarah playing Claire de Lune, eyes closed, soft lamplight glowing around her. Buddy curled up nearby. She looked like she was in her own world, so peaceful. I smiled, the first real smile I'd had all week, maybe longer. I didn't message her right away. Didn't want to seem too eager, But I knew that meeting wasn't just chance. Something told me Sarah wasn't someone who I didn't run into Sarah again. I figured it was just a friendly neighbor thing. But then, one Tuesday evening, everything shifted. I was working late, glued to my screen, tweaking a design for a client in Seattle. My brain was fried. I got up for water and noticed flickering lights through my blinds. Peeking out, I saw a car trying to start in the visitor's lot. Someone stood by it, messing with the hood. Buddy was running circles, tail wagging. It was Sarah. I hesitated for a second, then grabbed my keys and headed down. "Dead battery?" I asked, walking up. Sarah looked up, hair messy from the wind, cheeks slightly flushed. "This car's got more drama than a reality show," she said, sighing. I laughed. "I've got jumper cables in my trunk. Need a hand." Her eyes lit up. "If you can fix this, you're saving my whole night." After a few minutes of fumbling, her car roared to life. Sarah's face broke into a huge grin. "You're officially the MVP of 3B. I shrugged, playing it cool. Just doing my neighborly duty. Then she said, "Come on, let me buy you a coffee, or tea, or whatever workaholics drink at 9 p.m. I almost said no. Deadlines were looming, but her smile made me nod. "All right, you pick the place." She took me to a cozy coffee shop a few blocks away. Not a shiny chain place, but a quirky spot with mismatched furniture, vintage lamps, and a piano tucked in the corner. The barista waved at Sarah like they were old friends. We ordered black coffee for me, peppermint tea for her. Buddy curled up under the table, snoozing. We started talking. Not small talk, but real conversation. I told her about my job, the stress of freelancing, and days when I wanted to chuck my laptop out of the window. She shared about teaching music, the joy of watching her students grow, but also the exhaustion of low pay and feeling invisible among academic colleagues. Then she asked, "So, what brought you to Denver?" I paused, then laid it out. "A breakup. Long relationship, almost 5 years. We lived together, but we grew apart. I stayed too long because it was easy, because I was scared." Sarah looked at me, no judgment in her eyes. "I've stayed too long before," she said, "but not because I was scared, because I felt guilty." She opened up about her ex-husband. They married young, right after college. He was charming, driven, but cold in a polished way. He cheated twice. She left after the second time 3 years ago. "People said I was strong for walking away," she said, turning her mug slowly. "But I didn't feel strong. I felt like I failed." I nodded. "And then you carry that failure like it's part of you." She looked up, like I'd just put her thoughts into words. "Exactly." We fell quiet for a moment, but it wasn't heavy. It felt like understanding. Then we shifted to lighter stuff, creaky floors in the building, weird neighbors, Buddy barking at the mailman every morning. We laughed, walked home with Buddy leading the way. The night wasn't cold, but there was a crisp breeze. At the building's entrance, we paused. "Thanks for tonight," she said. I smiled. "Anytime." Then, out of nowhere, I blurted, "Or like all the time, you should just move in with me." A joke, I thought. But Sarah didn't laugh. She turned, her eyes clear and serious. "Only if it's forever." Her words hit like a wave. I didn't know how to respond. Part of me wanted to laugh it off. Another part felt like she'd just handed me something raw, something real. I managed a nervous smile. "Good night, Sarah." She nodded, leading Buddy inside. I stood there longer than I needed to before heading up. That night, I couldn't sleep. "Only if it's forever." Her words echoed, not because they were romantic, but because they were honest. Not a game, not flirting. It was a line in the sand, a statement. Sarah didn't play games. And suddenly, neither did I. The next morning, I couldn't focus. Emails piled up, 2 deadlines loomed, and I had a call with my boss at noon. But all I could think about was Sarah. I grabbed lunch with my buddy Ryan, a web designer at my company, at our favorite burger joint. Sunlight poured in, and before I even took a bite, I spilled. "Last night, I said something dumb to my neighbor." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Dumb how? Like, complimented her slippers?" "Nah, I joked she should move in with me." Ryan burst out laughing. "Bold move. What did she say?" I sighed. "She didn't laugh, just said, 'Only if it's forever.'" Ryan stopped chewing, eyes wide. "Whoa, heavy. Was she mad? Joking?" I shook my head, number dead serious, like she was laying down the rules. Ryan took a sip of his soda, thinking, "Sounds like she's done with casual. Maybe she's been through enough to not waste time on anything less than real. I nodded. He was right. Problem is, I didn't mean it seriously, but now I can't stop thinking about her. Ryan smirked.
I don't
So,
know,
I admitted.
what's the plan?
Part of me wants to act like it didn't happen. The other part wants to show up, like really show up. Ryan nodded. Then show up. No grand speeches, just be real. That's rare. Back home, Sarah's words still lingered. They weren't just a response. They were an invitation, a challenge. And for the first time in a long time, I wanted to step up. Not with a clever line, but with a real move. Her words stuck with me all the next day. Only if it's forever, like a song on repeat. I knew I had to do something. Standing still and pretending nothing happened wasn't an option. So that evening, I stood outside her apartment, 2B, holding a bunch of sunflowers. Not roses, nothing dramatic, just bright yellow blooms that felt like her smile. I took a deep breath and knocked. Sarah opened the door in sweatpants and a hoodie, hair in a messy bun. Buddy barked once, then recognized me, tail going wild. "Flowers?" she asked, eyebrow raised, but her eyes sparkled. "Sunflowers. They seemed like your vibe," I said, handing them over. She took them, fingers brushing the petals. "Nice choice. Come in." Her place was warm, lit by soft golden lamps. An old piano sat in the corner, draped with a scarf. Jazz played faintly from a speaker. Buddy hopped onto the couch, curling up like he owned the place. Sarah put the flowers in a vase and turned to me. "What's up? You don't strike me as the random flower guy." I sat down, hands clasped. "Last night, when I joked about you moving in, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It just slipped out." Sarah sat across from me, holding a coffee mug I'd brought from the shop the night before. She took a sip, eyes locked on mine. "I knew you were joking, but I wasn't." I nodded, heart pounding. "I get that. Your words, they've been on my mind." She tilted her head, waiting. I took a breath. I'm not great at this. I've been in love, lived with someone before, but it always started wrong because of timing, convenience. With you, I don't want to mess up something real before it even starts. Sarah set her mug down, leaning slightly toward me. "I'm not asking for a ring, Mike. I'm just tired of temporary. I've let too many people into my life who weren't planning to stay. I don't do that anymore. When I said only if it's forever, I didn't mean a vow. I just meant if we go forward, I need you to be all in." Her words were clear, sharp, honest, not pressure, just truth, laid bare. I nodded slowly. "I'm not promising the moon, but I want to get to know you. No games, no half measures." She exhaled, like a weight lifted. "That's enough," she said softly. We sat there, talking about everything and nothing. Her favorite movie, the time I burned toast in college. She told me about a student who sang off-key but performed with total confidence. Buddy wedged between us, knocking over my coffee. We laughed, mopped it up together. It felt easy, like we'd known each other forever. Close to midnight, I stood. "I should head out." Sarah walked me to the door. "Thanks for coming by," she said, hands in her pockets. I smiled, then did something unplanned. I took her hand for a moment, just long enough to feel her warmth. "I'm glad I did," I said, letting go. I walked back to my place, feeling like an idiot grinning alone. Over the next few days, Sarah started showing up more in my world. Not loudly, no big declarations, just little traces. An umbrella she left in the hall, a toothbrush by my sink. One evening, she came over with fuzzy socks, just in case. We ate grilled cheese I made, her perched on the counter, telling me about a student who tried playing piano with their elbows. I almost dropped the spatula. She laughed so hard she cried. Once we played with Buddy in my living room. I tossed a ball, and he chased it, knocking over a bookshelf. Books scattered, and Sarah fake scolded him, barely hiding her grin. "He thinks he's LeBron," she said, ruffling his fur. Moments like that, small but real, made me see she wasn't just my neighbor. She was becoming part of my life. I started noticing Sarah didn't just leave stuff behind. She left a sense of safety, something I hadn't realized I'd been missing. And for the first time in ages, I wanted to hold on to it, not with words, but by letting her in, bit by bit. The days after that, Sarah and I settled into a new rhythm. No big announcements, just small habits. She'd swing by after teaching, sometimes with cookies from her mom. We'd cook together, simple stuff like pasta or sandwiches. She'd sit on the counter, recounting stories about her students while I tried not to burn the pan. Buddy napped at our feet, snoring loudly. Jazz hummed from her phone. It felt so natural, like everything shifted. Sarah had stayed over the night before. Nothing serious, just two adults sharing a blanket. In the morning, she kissed my cheek and said, "I'll text you after class." She left with Buddy, his tail wagging. But all day, my phone stayed quiet. No text, no calls. I checked it a few times, telling myself she was busy. By evening, still nothing. I texted, "You okay?" No reply. By midnight, I was restless. I paced my apartment. Had I done something? Was she pulling back? Was this her ghosting without a word? I called, got voicemail. I went downstairs and knocked on 2B. Silence. No light under the door. I checked the parking lot. Her car was gone. My chest tightened. This wasn't her avoiding me. She was really gone. I remembered the emergency contact she'd shown me once. I found the number and called her mom. An older woman answered, cautious but kind. "I'm Mike, Sarah's friend," I said. "Is she okay? I can't reach her." A pause, then, "She's here. She came last night. She's resting." My voice shook. "Is she all right?" Her mom sighed. "She's grieving." Before I could ask more, she gave me an address. "Come if you can." I drove 20 minutes to a modest house in the suburbs. Green lawn, weathered wooden fence. Sarah's mom opened the door, silver hair, tired but warm eyes. She didn't say much, just pointed to the backyard. I walked out and saw Sarah on a wooden bench by a small garden, wrapped in a sweater, hugging her knees. Buddy lay beside her, head down. She didn't react when she saw me, just patted the seat next to her. I sat. A minute passed in silence. Then she spoke, barely audible. "Today's the anniversary of my dad's passing." My chest tightened. "I didn't know," I said. She nodded, staring at the garden. "I don't talk about it much. Every year I drive out here, stay a night, cry a little, help Mom with the yard." She paused, breathing deeply. "I didn't mean to ghost. I just didn't want to be anyone's burden." "Sarah," I said firmly, "you're not a burden." She looked down, fingers twisting her sleeve. "Every time I let someone in, they leave, or I push them away, or they change. Silence is easier than hoping." Her words hung there. I let them settle, then said, "I'm not promising I'll get everything right. I'm not promising forever, but I promise I won't leave just because things get quiet or messy." She looked at me, really looked. Her eyes were wet, but no tears fell. "I don't need promises," she said. "I need someone who doesn't flinch when I'm a wreck." I nodded. "I'm here." She took my hand, like that night at her door. This time, she held on tighter. We sat watching the sun dip behind the trees. No words, just birds chirping and Buddy's soft breaths. Later, her mom invited me in for tea. She set out a tray of store-bought cookies, hands trembling slightly. We talked a little, but her eyes told me I'd entered something fragile, something real. As I left, Sarah said, "Thanks for coming." I smiled. "I'll always show up." 2 days later, she appeared at my door with a tote bag, a pillow, and a Tupperware of her mom's soup. She set it all down, looked at me. "No more toothbrush stage. I'm bringing the whole drawer." We laughed, but it wasn't a joke. It was a choice. That drawer, the one in the top right of my dresser, used to hold old cables and a broken flashlight. Sarah opened it, glanced at me. "This one's free, right?" Before I could answer, she started stacking her socks. That was her way of saying, "I'm staying." From then on, things shifted, not loudly but steadily. Her travel mug by my coffee maker, me buying her favorite cereal, Buddy napping under my desk, nudging me when I worked too late. We didn't talk about forever again. We didn't need to. She was here, and so was I. Life with Sarah isn't a rom-com. No slow-motion flower petals, no grand vows. Just real days filled with small, meaningful moments. One early morning, I woke to the smell of banana pancakes. I shuffled into the kitchen, and there she was, in my old hoodie, flipping pancakes, swaying to music from her phone. Her hair was a mess, feet bare on the cold wood. She didn't see me. She looked so at peace, like this kitchen, this apartment, was hers forever. That moment, not a fancy date or a tearful speech, was when I knew I didn't want to live without her, without mornings like this. One afternoon, we climbed to the roof. Our new routine. 2 wobbly camping chairs, a thermos of coffee between us, Buddy sprawled at our feet. The sunset stretched slow, painting the sky in pinks and purples. The city buzzed below, a gentle soundtrack. I turned to her, voice low. "Remember when I joked about you moving in?" She smiled. And I said, Only if it's forever. Yeah, I said, my voice softer. I think about that a lot.
Waiting.
Like, I took a
Every
breath,
day.
searching for words. Sarah, I don't know what forever looks like. I don't promise it because I don't even know myself fully yet, let alone the future. But I know one thing for sure. I want you here. Tomorrow, the next day, and every morning when I wake up, I want you there. She didn't blink, didn't pull away. Then let's do tomorrow, she said, her voice like a breeze. It wasn't a proposal, no grand gesture, just two people carrying their own baggage, finding a foundation strong enough to build on. That night, we didn't celebrate. We ordered Thai, curled up on the couch, watched a documentary about sharks, and fell asleep halfway. Buddy was at our feet, snoring like he approved. We still bicker, like any couple, about who forgot to put the laundry away, about leaving the fridge door open overnight, about the correct way to hang toilet paper. She insists the roll goes under, which I tease her about. But every fight, one of us waves the white flag first. A hug, a sorry, or just a look that says we're here for each other. No one walks away, no one ghosts. Sarah stays, and I do too. The days roll on, and I see her in every corner of my life. Her coffee mug by my machine, her sugary cereal on my shelf. I still call it kid stuff. Buddy under my desk, elbowing me when I burned midnight oil. On the dining table, among her sheet music and my laptop, there's a post-it about a camping trip we're planning. A small thing, but it's proof we're sketching a future, together. One night, I came home late after a rough client call. Sarah was folding laundry in the living room, quieter than usual. I asked, "You okay?" She looked at me a long second, then said, "I used to be scared of feeling safe, like I didn't deserve it." I didn't know what to say. I just walked over, wrapped her in my arms. She leaned into me, and that was enough. We're learning to say less, be there more. That's how we hold on. Mike and Sarah's story shows that true love isn't need epic promises, just small, daily choices to stay, to understand, to keep going together. At the Heartbreak Chronicles, we share raw stories where love and hope intertwine, reminding you that light can follow even the darkest days. Have you ever had a moment where you realized, this is the one I want to stay with? Or a story of learning to love again after pain? Drop it in the comments. We read everyone, and your story could inspire thousands. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more stories from the Heartbreak Chronicles. Together, let's keep writing new chapters of the heart.